Welcome to the AIA Continuing Education Accessible Language Explainer video, and thank you for all you do to provide quality continuing education and professional development to AIA members and our allied community. Let's start by establishing what we mean when we say accessible language. Accessible language is words that your primary audience will understand without clarification. Accessible language is jargon-free. It's not overly technical, and it provides clear, concise definitions and explanations of terms or concepts that are necessary to understanding your message, but not common knowledge to the audience. Often, being accessible means using basic, even small words, and limiting your use of complex sentence construction. But sometimes small words don't seem like they'll fit the bill. Some ideas and processes are complex and need more than a subject and a verb. And what if what you have to say is technical and jargony? What then? With your audience in mind, accept the challenge. Remember, none of what you're presenting will matter if your audience has to work too hard to understand it. Your time is limited, and you may only have one shot at making it stick. And to make it stick, you'll need to keep it plain, simple, and focused. Say you were tasked with briefly explaining the job of a particle physicist to a lay audience. You might be inclined to start with the definition of particle physics and go from there. You think this definition is pretty straightforward, and maybe it is. Is it safe to assume your audience knows what a subatomic particle is? What about an atom, a neutron, an alpha particle? You go further and further down the rabbit hole, explaining and describing, providing background, and introducing new words that require more explanation, description, and background. You're now so far away from your original purpose to explain the job of a particle physicist that you've likely lost your audience. Instead, how about you do what Paul Sorensen did and make it plain, simple, and focused? Sorensen, a physicist studying quark-gluon plasma with the relativistic heavy ion collider at Brookhaven National Laboratory, offered this up on the Tumblr 1000 Words of Science, using Theo Sanderson's The Upgoer 5 text editor, which gives users the challenge of explaining hard ideas using only the 1,000 most used American English language words. While we don't limit your word pool, as AIA educators, you should adhere to the spirit of Sanderson's challenge when developing your continuing education content. And it is a challenge, even for professionals. Change read to hear, and you and Marilyn Voss Savant face the same struggle. But with thoughtfulness and practice, the struggle becomes very surmountable. Take a look at these examples and start to think about why the accessible language is better than the jargon, even though the jargon isn't wrong. In some cases, the jargon may be expected or preferred. In any case, always ask yourself why you're choosing specific words and how they will be received by your audience. To make these decisions, think about your AIA audience and the range of members and allies you may be talking to at any given time. diagrammatic, fenestrations, moment, as in space, not time, banal, curate. Losing even one learner because of these words is unacceptable, because it's totally preventable. Want to say morphology? Say shape. Typology? Type. Corbusian? Boxy. No one, even those who understand the term concretize, will fault you for saying make definite. And by choosing the more accessible word, you won't lose those audience members for whom concretize doesn't register. More often than not, opting for the more accessible word will work in your favor. And in many cases, it will save you time. And time is money. Even the federal government thinks that saving time through the use of accessible plain language is important. As an AIA continuing education provider or educator, AIA members will be your primary audience. This is a group committed to continuing education and professional development, for whom acquiring knowledge and developing skills are equally important endeavors. But it's also a group that could use about 10 more hours in every day. So giving up an hour of billable time to take a continuing education course or a few days to attend the AIA Conference on Architecture is a pretty big deal. If they've taken the time to come hear your message, it's because they believe it's worthwhile. It's because they want to hear it, and they want to talk about it with you, the expert. Accessible language not only removes limitations on audience understanding, it makes you, the expert, more accessible and approachable, and your audience more willing to engage with you, to share your message, and to continue the conversation within the AIA community, a community that stretches well beyond our membership. Thanks for your time and for your continued commitment to providing high-quality continuing education to AIA members and our allied community.